It's one of those classic internet questions, right? What happens if you drop a single, state-of-the-art M1A2 Abrams tank onto a medieval battlefield against 10,000 fully armored knights? It is the ultimate showdown. Cutting-edge technology versus just a massive, massive army. Now, on the surface, it sounds like a total joke, a complete mismatch. But the reality? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Let's get into it.
So who wins? You've got this 70-ton beast of armor and firepower against, well, guys on horseback with pointy sticks. The answer seems so obvious at first, doesn't it? But trust me, as we're about to see, the real answer is way more complicated and honestly, a whole lot more fun.
All right, now you have to put yourself in the knight's shoes for a second. Just try to imagine it. They've never seen anything remotely like this thing. It's this metal monster that roars like thunder, it spits fire, and it can kill you from so far away you can't even see what hit you. For them, the sheer psychological terror would be just as deadly as any of its weapons.
And that pure terror leads us to the first and, let's be honest, the most likely outcome, the shock and awe scenario. The tank crew just fires one single 120mm shell, boom, and 30 knights, they just vanish. Then the machine guns open up and they're just mowing down the front lines like grass. Horses are freaking out, chaos is everywhere. In this version of the story, the knights' will to fight is completely shattered before they even get close. The tank wins, no contest, without a scratch. But, come on, that's the boring version, right?
But what if they don't break? What if their insane discipline or maybe their genuine belief that this is some kind of demon sent from hell makes them keep charging forward? Well, now we've got a real fight on our hands. So let's really break down our two opponents, because the gap in technology here it's just staggering.
So on one side, you have the M1A2 Abrams. We're talking 60 tons of advanced composite armor, a 1,500 horsepower engine. It's got thermal vision that can literally see your body heat through pitch black darkness and fog. And on the other side, a medieval knight. The absolute peak of their technology is heavy plate armor, a really well-trained horse, and a very sharp piece of steel. In their world, they are the apex predators. But in this one, not so much.
And the firepower? Oh man, it's just on another level. The Abrams main cannon can nail a target from 4 kilometers away. That's almost 2.5 miles. The Knights wouldn't even be able to see the tank clearly before they were already in range. Then you add in 2 different kinds of machine guns, and you've got this highly trained 4-person crew inside, operating the whole thing like a single, perfectly oiled killing machine.
So, this is an easy win, right? Just a total blowout. Well, not quite. Because here's the thing about tanks. They don't run on magic. They run on fuel, they run on ammo, and their parts wear down. They have limits. And those limits create this invisible, ticking clock that quickly becomes the tank's single greatest weakness. Let's start with this number, 40. That's it. The tank is carrying just 40 shells for its main cannon. And remember, there's no resupply truck coming, there's no backup. Once those 40 shots are gone, its biggest, most terrifying weapon is nothing more than dead weight. Suddenly, every single shot has to count. Now, 10,000 rounds for the machine guns, that sounds like a ton, and it is. But you have to remember the scale of this fight. That's 10,000 rounds against 10,000 knights. If you do the math, that is literally 1 bullet per person, and that's assuming 100% accuracy, which is it's impossible in the middle of a chaotic battle.
And right here, this is the real killer. The Abrams is a thirsty beast. It burns through its 500 gallons of jet fuel in about 8 hours of moving and fighting. Once that fuel is gone, this unbelievable war machine just becomes a 70-ton steel coffin. And, well, there aren't exactly any gas stations in the 13th century.
But here's the twist. The knights, they have their own ticking clock. An army of 10,000 men and all their horses needs a mind-boggling amount of food and water every single day. We're talking over 125,000 kilograms of food a day. If this battle drags on for too long, their own logistics could cause them to starve to death before they ever even reach the tank.
So what this really becomes is less about pure firepower and more about strategy. It's a siege. It's brains versus brawn, where both sides are desperately trying to exploit the other's weaknesses before their own clock runs out.
The tank crew, they'd have to fight incredibly smart. They'd use what's called shoot-and-scoot tactics, fire a shot and immediately move to a new position to keep the knights guessing. They'd look for hull-down positions behind hills, where only the heavily armored turret is exposed. And at night,
With their thermal vision, they become ghosts. They're silent predators that can see and strike when the Knights are completely blind. But here's the thing. The Knights aren't stupid. They know their land. They would try to lure the tank into thick forests or deep mud or up steep hills where it could get stuck. They'd send waves of riders, not even to attack, but just to make the tank waste its precious ammunition. You see, their greatest weapon isn't a sword or a lance. It's patience. They can surround the tank and just wait. Wait for it to run out of fuel, for a track to break, or for the crew inside to finally make a mistake.
And, all of this strategy, on both sides, it all comes down to one absolutely critical thing: the human factor. Just think about the insane psychological pressure on that 4-person crew. They are totally isolated, completely alone, and outnumbered 2,500 to 1. For them, there is zero room for error. One moment of fatigue, one slow reload, one single bad decision, and it could all be over.
So, where does that leave us? As you've probably figured out by now, there's no simple, easy answer to who wins this thing. The outcome depends completely, 100% on the conditions of the fight. This table really sums it up perfectly. If it's a quick battle on a big, open field, the tank absolutely dominates. It's not even a contest. But if the Knights can drag that fight into rough terrain and turn it into a long, drawn-out siege, their odds get much, much better. As you can see, the whole thing really hinges on those key variables we talked about: fuel, ammo, and the sheer endurance of the crew inside.
But there is one final, wildcard scenario we have to consider. What if the Knights, after seeing their friends just disappear in a cloud of fire and smoke, what if they don't see an enemy? In their world, there's no word for tank. So what do they call it? A beast? A miracle? Or maybe a god? What if instead of fighting it, they start to worship it? And that leaves us with the ultimate question. In a war between technology and tradition, what happens when one side decides the other is